Zel Boy Army, welcome to another video on the channel. This one's going to be a little bit different. Quite often I do review promos, but this one in general has frustrated me quite a lot. FUT Freeze was our replacement for Futmas, and as you can see from the video title, I've not been too fond of it. At EA, the company that have tried to ruin Christmas. Are they the Grinch of the gaming world? I don't know, for me, FUT Freeze just hasn't been it. This video, I'm going to look at all the different cards that they've released. I'm going to talk about the promo in general, talk about the different promos we get on FIFA, the direction that FIFA's tended to be going the last few years, and give my overall thoughts on it. And I want you guys to give me honest feedback. Do you like these type of videos? Do you disagree with me? Do you agree with me? What have been your thoughts on FUT Freeze? I'm open to hearing different opinions, but let's look at the cards. So this promo generally consisted, I think, basically of three different elements. One, the main element of most promos for FIFA, players in packs. Two, SBCs. And three, we had objectives. I think we had Volland and Kappa, where I think were our objectives for the promo. I've not ordered these cards in any particular way other than just by rating, and there's still some cards missing, and we'll remove Terrera after we've gone through all these and then look at the other ones. We also had Balassi as an objective. Let's start by looking at the cards that were actually in packs. So we had Freeze Mane, the best card easily in this promo. Put a hawk on him, he's near end game already. He's basically a Eusebio without the weak foot. I use him on my PS Road to Glory where I packed him untradeable. Absolutely insane card. Chiellini, not bad, decent chemistry links, didn't mind that card. Casemiro, way overpriced. You have to think a lot of these cards tend to be stupidly overpriced, and there's a reason they're stupidly overpriced. Not because they're really good, but because EA ruined the pack weight. How many of you have opened lots of cards during these promos or packs and not packed a single one of these FUT Freezes? Martinez, pretty good card. Ruined a few stats on him, but it's still a very good card overall. Bernardo Silva, didn't mind that, a 4-star weak foot. Saint Maximin, very, very good card. Dembele, very, very good card. Probably not worth the coins again because the pack weight's so low. Neymar will be better than them. And just as easy to link in, probably, because he's got a strong link to Mbappe and he's Brazilian. But these guys cost way more because the pack weight. Who else was in packs? There'll have been a few others. Hazard was in packs. There's a few others of the lower raid, but they're not. We'll get to them, but they're not a big part of it. You'll notice, though, the very best players in this promo tend to all be in packs. So, the best players in the promo, and this tends to be in pretty much every promo, the content that we get, because promos are the main content we get, tend to be in packs. For me, packs are not content, because you can't open them with coins and ever expect to make any profit. Packs are basically just spend a lot of money. In a video game that you buy for £50 minimum, at least at the start of the year when it comes out, never mind the bonus editions, you should not be having to spend a penny to get the same gaming experience as someone else. And to take part in these promos properly, and to have a chance of getting any of these players, and by a chance I mean a very small chance, you have to spend extortionate money every week or two to get these packs, because the packs are absolutely ludicrously priced. And you'll probably still not get any of them. But that is the main part of each promo that we get. They release cards into packs, and then when they release these cards into the packs, well, that's it. That's basically it. You get a few SBCs, a couple of objectives that are always a lot worse. I'm not saying that EA should just give everyone a moment's R9 on day one for free, because we'd get bored if there was no grind to improve our team. I completely get that. But it shouldn't be that without spending silly hours trading or getting very lucky with packs that you can't grind to get some of the very best players in the game. If you buy the game for £50, and you put enough time into it, you should be able to unlock everything. And you have to remember, it's only a yearly cycle. I just don't like that the main part of each promo tends to be consistent of the best cards are all in packs, and that's the only way to access them to get a lot of coins. Then we get to the SBCs. Some of the SBCs we've had Firmino, fantastic card. Lacks a few areas, like he's not elite physically with that strength and aggression. Could be a bit better on the ball. Could have slightly better shooting, could be quicker. But as an overall card, 5-star, 4-star, those links very good. Gnabry, pretty good card overall. Gaya, pretty good card until you look at the weak foot and he's a striker, so ruins the card. Marquinhos, good, but definitely not elite. Can't shoot. He's basically Firmino who can't shoot, is clunky, bit worse physically. Good links though. Awa, he was probably the best value SBC of this promo. That Awa one was actually very good. Torreira was another card in packs, by the way. And Saudi, overpriced. Lala, 3-star, 3-star. Politano, looks okay, and then you look at his physicals. Passing's not great without a chem style. Shooting's the same. Lema, we already had Mukiele. Quite expensive for a right back. Navas, a 5'8" centre back with no strength. Not the highest sprint speed for a card that apparently has 83 pace. Sprint speed does matter on this game. So, like, instantly when I look at the SBCs, pretty much all of them except for Firmino have a major issue. Even Gnabry, like 83 sprint speed. You can put a hunter on him, but then you waste a lot of that on his acceleration. You don't boost the other areas, and he still doesn't get to 99 sprint speed. It's a good card though. That one, the Gnabry one was better. And I'm gonna get Footbid up to have a look at some of the prices of these players. So I'm gonna search for them. Firmino. This Firmino costs 900,000 coins right now to do him on Xbox. That is a lot of coins for an untradeable. You have to remember this whenever you're doing any of these. Gnabry, 250k. Marquinhos, 200k. Gaya, 69k. But again, he was pretty awful. Awa, 130k. He was very good value. I didn't mind that one. Lala, 130k. I'm not going to go through every single one. Wan-Bissaka, like, that was probably the worst one in terms of, like, he was near 400k and Joe Gomez in forms as good and tradable. Like, the SBCs, in my opinion, are not there to be content for us to enjoy. They're there to kind of try to placate the community and make you think that they're putting out content for us. But ultimately, they're there as a coin drain. Most SBCs this year so far, if not nearly all of them, have had a major weakness. And if it's a good card, it tends to be overpriced. Like I said, this AWA is very good price and probably the best value elite card that we've had this year, I would say, from any SBC. People might disagree. Firmino is a great card. He's 900k though. 900k untradeable when you can get a 90 Bruno who's about as good, if not better, is ludicrous. So whenever they give us a good card, they just massively overprice it to try and drain coins. So far, in this promo, and FUT Freeze is just kind of build up a frustration. I've seen a lot of this in the community. We've had packs is the main way to get the best players of the promo. That Firmino is the only player who can rival Saint Maximin, Mane, or Dembele as one of the best players from this promo. And he was a 900k SBC. So we've got packs, which you have to spend a lot of money to get involved in to have a chance of packing these guys. SBCs, which for the most part were players that are nowhere near end game. They're just going to drain your coins and give you players who long term aren't going to be great. And then we get objectives. And then when we look at the objectives, Balassi, not the best finishing. Not great dribbling, considering it's Balassi. Average passing. And a 3-star weak foot. Not an awful card, but people wouldn't be buying him if he was on the market. Volland looks pretty good. but then he's got 79 sprint speed, which, to be honest, this Volan for free, I don't think it's that bad a card considering it's free. But he will not last that long with that sprint speed. I would genuinely rather use Klosterman. Klosterman technically has 2 more pace, but sprint speed matters so much more on this game, which is why they make these cards free. Make you think they look good, but they're not actually that special in game. Kappa. Decent card for free, to be fair. If he was a centre-back, I'd have liked him more. CDM, he's a bit limited in some ways, 3-star, but for a free card, he's good. These objectives are not bad. I wouldn't mind giving us objectives that were a lot more grindier, realistic grinds, but longer term ones, but they're actually more usable cards. Because like I say, when you buy a game up front, you shouldn't then have to take out a mortgage to access all the content. If you want to get a Prime R9 right now, you're looking at between 12 to generally 15 million coins. That would cost you maybe £4,000 of FIFA points right now to get that. When you buy the game for £50, you should not then have to spend thousands of pounds just to get to play with some of the players that you love. But obviously, EA as a business, I understand it's a business, and whilst they're making money from it and people keep spending money, they're going to do it. And I'm not having a go at anyone who chooses to spend the money on that. People can spend their money how they want. My wife always used to say before I was a pro and it was my job, so I spend money on the game for that. That if I want to spend a bit of money on this, she doesn't mind. She'd rather me do this than spend money on drugs, go out clubbing, spend lots of money on alcohol, gambling, etc. My missus didn't mind me doing that. I don't have an issue with how people want to spend their money. I'm not criticising anyone who does buy packs in these promos. Far from it. I just think that we shouldn't have to do this as a community to get to enjoy FIFA. The overall arch of this promo, for me, they've had put rip-off upgrade packs, player picks, SBCs that are overpriced. If the card's any good, they're overpriced. They've tried to lull people in by making 1% back, but then lowering his pace by 5 when they could have just given him 88 pace and upgraded him. It just feels like most of these cards are either the good ones are in packs and going to be expensive because the pack weight's low and you have to spend a lot of money to get them, or they're just coin drains because we're going to have more promos and more promos throughout the year, and the more coins you lose by wasting them on silly SBCs, on upgrade packs that aren't going to get you anywhere, the less coins you have for the other promos, and the cycle just continues and continues, and people want to spend more money to be able to get these new cards. A lot of people are addicted to it. This game is an addictive game. I'm someone who I'd say probably has quite an addictive personality. So at the start of the year, I just say to myself, I'll spend this much and I'm not spending another penny for the rest of the year. I spend a lot on this game to try have a good enough team to compete at the pro scene. And it's tough. But I've spoke to lots of people who spent a lot more money on this game than they wish they had. I'm not going to go down the line, is it gambling and all that debate? My point always will come back to that. When we buy a game that's a AAA game, with all the issues it has gameplay-wise, we should not have to be spending stupid amounts of money just to use one of our favourite icons on the game. So we've talked about the objectives, the SBCs, the the actual players and packs, some of the upgrades. That's the promo. But think about what I'm saying. The promo there is literally just menu stuff and content stuff, basically. The only gameplay elements of this promo that we've had have been grinding for some objective players that are okay, but far from elite players. They're good players. Like Kappa and Volland are pretty good. They're not amazing, but they're good enough for weekend league. Balassi, I don't even think is. Some people might disagree. I've not used him, but the pros who I've spoke to used him all said he's rubbish. Pros obviously have a different perspective when they use a lot of the elite players, but also when I've played against Balassi, I've never had an issue. He seems pretty bad, to be honest. Why can't we have promos where we have some different tournaments that go on? Tournaments to earn some good cards. Why can't they do more of what they did in Summer Heat? I'm not saying we need a 93 Mendy in December, but actual objectives and upgradable cards by grinding the game that are actually meaningful and can get in our teams. The Future Stars promo last year, it was a good idea in theory, but when you looked at it, the cards that we got from the Future Stars, like Erdegaard, Zaniolo, when you upgraded them, were worse than most of the Future Stars that you could get in packs. And it all comes back to, they're not going to give us things like this, because ultimately, if they give us things like this that we can grind towards and get better cards, then we're not going to spend as much money in the game because we already have good cards. And I just don't like the direction FIFA's gone more and more in the last few years, where every single promo is just a coin drain until summer heat, where the game's got 2 months left and no one's spending money, so they give us a good promo. EA proved with summer heat that they know what the community want. Great cards, great upgrades, things you can grind with gameplay to get good players for your team. But they gave us it at a time of the year where it doesn't matter. And people got excited thinking maybe we could get some of this stuff on FIFA 21 again. But we've just gone back to the same cycle of shit where it's just best players are in packs. If there's any good SBCs, they cost a stupid amount of coins. The objectives are okay. Some are bad, some are good, but they're not meaningful. And there's just nothing new. What actual game modes are new this year? Squad battles is no different. Rivals is no different. FUT Champs is the same. Friendlies, they've added a few things in there, but there's nothing much different about it. It's just a few different requirements for them. Drafts are the exact same. We had co-op added this year, but you can only do it in Rivals. And I think you can do it in some of the friendlies. I think you can do Rivals in some of the different friendlies, but why can't we do Rivals like co-op tournaments, co-op weekend league, and build it around these promos? Get promos that when you're doing them, they actually have meaningful parts to them. Moving forward, I get that EA as a company want to make money. I would much rather them do season passes, like the objectives that we get. We look here. We look at the objectives. The season progress. I would much rather them waste our time and give us a PL Prime Players Pack as one of the highest rewards in December, or an 86 Aspas who you can get the inform of and who's just the same. Make the season pass cost money, but give actual good rewards if they really want to make more money off the game, rather than just make people buy rip-off packs. This pack here, a Jumbo Rares Players Pack, would cost £16 or £17 if I was to buy it from a promo pack. The chances are I don't get anything worth more than 5,000 to 10,000 coins from it. This video, if it's come across as quite negative or that I'm frustrated, because I am. I care deeply about this game. I dedicate a lot of my life to, one, helping people get better at this game, but two, playing the game myself. I'm a big fan of football. I adore football, and I got into this job because I love FIFA, but my love for the game is slowly getting less and less over time with the shady promos and business model that EA put on the community. I'm not saying there's not boycotts or things like that I think we can actually do, to be honest. I'm not suggesting any of that. I just want EA to make a game that rewards you for playing it more and that you get your money's worth for £50. I don't think there's much more to say about this. Maybe I could do a follow-up at some point where I could really go in depth about what I would really like to see in promos in the future. I've talked about that. But yeah, those are my thoughts. Bit of a different video today. Please let me know if you stuck around to the end what you think of the video. Appreciate you all. Thank you for supporting my channel. I want to make a point as well that I appreciate that EA have made a game that I can make a living off of. I hate when people go in on individuals at the company or just make ridiculous statements, but I don't think anything I've said in this video is particularly unfair. I don't think I've said anything that's unreasonable or unfair in this video. I appreciate you all though. Hope you're all having a great day. Catch you guys in the next one.